Welcome to A Girl, a Guy, and a Buffy podcast, Small Bites edition. I'm your co-host, Kate Balzer.
And I'm Charles Swint. So our Small Bites episodes are discussions we had in the main episode that didn't quite fit the overall conversation, but we still wanted to share with you all.
We hope you enjoy these tasty conversational bites. We promise, no angry puppy scars from listening.
Did you ever get the Buffy magazines? Because I know they used to create like the Buffy magazines and
yeah, I don't think so.
But I never got them. So that's where, and I think that's probably where the age kind of hits in a different way for me, because I remember and again, we're talking, Buffy coming out in like 97, 98. So we're still talking about early days of the internet still. It's around and people have access to it. But I was just getting an email address at that point. And I didn't have access to the internet unless I was on campus.
Right.
At the library. So I wasn't able, it wasn't like I could just sit at home and type up Buffy and see what was going on or see what. So I wasn't really on the message boards and I wasn't doing a lot of that stuff. Mostly time, because I didn't have a whole lot of time because I was doing theater. And so, between classes and shows and all of that stuff.
Yeah. I wasn't really delving it until like my senior year of college because I was living off campus.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I graduated, because there was a little more time, because it's not like I had to be doing homework
right
once I graduated or studying for tests. Or
I think it was season 6 for me. I remember I was living with some friends of mine. We were working for a children's theater company and we were touring, but we also lived together. And they're still friends to this day, and I got them hooked on Buffy, and season 6 came and we were watching, and so my friend, he was totally into going online and he didn't mind being spoiled, so he was always looking through stuff to see what was going to happen next. It might also be one of the reasons why I have issues with season 6, because I was spoiled for some of those things in season 6. He spoiled a few things, including the ending, parts of the ending. So it was but I remember, and that's when I remember I was like, I never want to be spoiled about anything again, because for me, it ruins the enjoyment of it. I like the surprise of it all. But that was one of the first times that I sort of had an actual sort of interaction with you can use the internet to get a little bit more deeper into the behind the scenes of what all of this is. But then I was like, but then you're just spoiling everything, and I don't like that. So
I know that works for some people. I'm like you. I cannot be spoiled. It totally ruins it for me. I also can't hear too much hype about something, because then once I go to see it, I'm like, it won't live up to hype. So I either have to see it right away, or let a whole bunch of time pass and kind of forget about the hype. And then go and then watch it, whatever that is, movie, TV, book, musical.
We say as we create a podcast that is full of spoilers.
Well, we warn. It's not like it's a surprise.
The irony of all of it. Pop-up video.
That's an old school reference.
I loved pop-up video. Because you got to get so much insight on things that you loved, and you were like, oh wow, I didn't know that.
Oh my God, it was the best. No, the best thing ever was on the DVD of Bring It On. They have a version of watching the film that does the pop-up video thing.
How did I not know this?
I know, it's an extra feature. It is my favorite. That is where I learned I learned some of it I knew, but some of it I didn't, and where I learned about the many crossover stuff between Bring It On and Buffy.
Oh, okay. That's so weird. I think I'm fairly certain, if I look behind me at my stack of DVDs back here, um that I have Bring It On. I am fairly certain, and I don't know
You,
how I have
you need
not
to watch it. Yeah.
seen that, or maybe I did and I have forgotten about it.
Yeah.
Because old.
Because
Uh,
well, it stands out to me because like of all the like movies I bought on DVD that had extra features, that is the only one that I ever saw that did it. And I was like, this is genius. Like, why are more movies not doing it?
oh, that's so cool. And I think that sort of like ties into at least one of the things that sort of contributes to the building of a fan culture.
Yes, exactly. Ooh, good
See what
segue.
I did there?
I like.
Like, and speaking of merch, so we went to Atlanta
Yes.
Comic Con, and and got, and you can't, obviously, because it's a podcast and you can't see into my room, where I'm recording, but over my shoulder, is a picture of Cordelia, and she has me at crossbow point. But we went and we did a photo session with Charisma, and did the autograph thing and went to her panel and did all of
Mhm.
that. So we did the fandom of Charisma Carpenter, which was really, really great. And she is just a lovely. I mean, lovely is not even the word that I would use to describe. I don't know what the word is. I still haven't figured out what that word is. Um, Effervescent,
I think that's
perhaps.
a great word. Yeah. Well,
Um,
I think what comes through is her honest, sincere love and appreciation of her role on the show, on both shows, and that it means as much to her, I think, as it does to us. Because certainly Charles and I, just because we have been in the theater world and have some connections to the entertainment world, um, understand like, for most actors, you're never going to get the big role. You're never going to be the big superstar. Most actors are like working actors. They're making a working class living. They don't know when their next job is going to come. They have to audition all the time. Most people are not Tom Cruise and Julia Roberts. And, that's one of the things that Charisma even said to us in conversation with her. And so the fact that she got a role that is so recognizable that she still has fans for. I mean, and that they all do. I mean, obviously we were only talking to Charisma about this, but I think and she didn't have to be this way, but the fact that she is, and she loves and appreciates it and earnestly goes to cons because she enjoys meeting the fans, I think it just made it such a wonderful experience. And for anyone else, I'm sure who's met her, out there who's listening, hopefully you felt the same way.
yeah, and it's so cool to just to be like, well, and I go to cons too because I also get to meet and hang out with some of my friends, because otherwise I
Yeah.
don't get to see them. So
Yeah.
like, so what did you think of your first? Because this was your first
This is my first.
con.
It was it was so good. I think it was a good one to start out with, because it was on the smaller side.
Hmm.
Um, and I had a lot of fun. You know, and Charisma, I think, was a great first actor to meet. Like
Yes, yeah,
everything just came together like so well. I had you there. You were my guide because you've been to cons before. And plus we could just like hang out and have fun and like debate Buffy
right.
during downtime. And yeah, I overall enjoyed it so much. I mean, I had an idea of what to expect just because I read about cons all the time and like know what happens at them, but at the same time, like you can't fully know till you're there. And so
Right.
I would say this one, because it was so focused on autograph signing, photos with the celebrities, um, and some panels, it wasn't as social. But then again, that may be on us because we're local to it,
Hmm.
that we didn't stay for the evening stuff because we were both kind of like worn out by the end of the day.
Right.
So I would have liked to engage more. But even like the little engagements we had with people in line or sitting at the same table as someone, I mean, everyone was just like so cool, so nice. It was like I loved that other fans took photos with each other because they liked their costumes. And it
Yeah.
was like that was so fun.
I love the amount of work that people put into their costumes all the time.
Yes.
Like sometimes you see some really truly creative and innovative um costume ideas and things like that. So
Yeah.
I love it.
So I have a little historical fun fact that I read
Ooh,
in an article from Medium called Fan Culture: Social and Cultural Transformations During the Digital Era.
okay.
And this was interesting because I did not know this. So it did talk about, like you said, in most pieces on fan culture, talk about Star Trek being the start of the modern fan culture. Well, there actually fandom can be traced back to as early as the 1900s when groups of individuals were witnessed publicly mourning the quote unquote death of the fictional character Sherlock Holmes and publishing fan generated stories in order to quote unquote revive him.
What?
I know. I was like blown away when I read that. I was
Mind
like,
blown. What?
totally.
Get out of here.
Yeah. So that is like, as far as like modern Western world, is like the earliest they
Oh,
trace fandom back to. And it was around Sherlock Holmes, which like so does
man.
not surprise me.
That's great. I mean, that publication of those in those newspapers and all of that stuff really
Yeah.
did sort of capture the imagination
Yeah.
of society at the time. So it is a surprising thing, but now that you said it, it's like, well, yeah, that again,
Yeah.
that tracks.
Totally. Absolutely.
That
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
wild.
I
That is
know.
wild. I'm gonna need a moment to like
I
we'll
know.
be right we'll be
That was
right
really
back
great.
after a word from our sponsors.
Yeah, exactly. Charles needs a moment to get himself back together.
Oh my
Um,
goodness. That
yeah.
is insane. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Small Bites. Let us know your thoughts about the episode by leaving a review or rating us wherever you listen to your podcast.
You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at A Buffy Podcast and email us at abuffypodcast@gmail.com. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.
Bye.